Cordes joins us now from Metairie, Louisiana, just outside of New Orleans. Thanks for joining us, Nancy. I want to begin by asking you about this tweet that President Trump sent out reacting to these town halls. And he said the so-called angry crowds in home districts of some Republicans are actually, in numerous cases, planned out by liberal activists. Sad! Exclamation mark. You've been to these town hall meetings. Is that what you're seeing there?
Not necessarily. You've got a lot of voters who did not vote for Donald Trump, some who did, who are here to register their frustration. There's no question that liberal groups are making sure that they know where and when these town halls are taking place. They're posting the locations online. Within these communities, groups are forming to talk about how they plan to approach the town halls. So, yes, there is organization, but the implication that Donald Trump has been making, the implications that some Republicans have been making, is that somehow this is just all manufactured. Maybe even some of the people coming to these town halls are being paid. But there is no evidence of that so far. And even Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley at one of his town halls yesterday said, look, I want to make sure people understand this is legitimate. People are frustrated, and there would be other people who would be frustrated if Hillary Clinton had won.
Nancy, when people see images out of these town halls, the comparison many are making is to the Tea Party movement of 2010. Is the organizational strategy of that movement acting as sort of a model for these groups?
In some ways, yes. The people who are involved say they learned a lot from the Tea Party. They learned that it doesn't work when you've got some group in Washington directing people. It really works when you've got grassroots organization, people in those communities who are willing to attend not just one town hall this week, but are going to keep the pressure on their lawmakers. But in other ways, people are really looking to distance themselves from the Tea Party. They say, look, that movement was all about putting pressure on Republican lawmakers to move to the right. And these protesters say, we're not trying to move Democratic lawmakers to the left. We are trying to be a check and balance on the Trump administration and on Republican plans in Congress. And so they say they've got a different approach, a different agenda, and they want to make sure that Republican lawmakers understand that if they move, for example, to remove Obamacare without a suitable replacement, that they're going to make their displeasure known at the ballot box in the next election.
So we heard in your piece, Nancy, that the main sources of the tension here appear to be the Affordable Care Act. Also, some people are concerned about the proposed travel ban. How are Republican lawmakers answering these questions when you consider that they're being grilled by people who are opposed to President Trump, but many of them come from states who voted for President Trump?
You really see a range of reactions, Anne-Marie. You've got some Republican lawmakers. They know at this point what they're walking into. So they know they're going to face opposition, and there isn't necessarily a lot to be gained from being combative and trying to put down these protesters. So you have folks like the Republican Senate leader, Mitch McConnell, yesterday, who said, look, protest is something that we embrace in this country and we respect it. And I'm not going to be the person to tell people that they shouldn't let their feelings be known. You've got other Republicans who say, look, I don't understand why you are so angry. We haven't done anything yet. We haven't repealed Obamacare. You haven't seen our replacement plan. You got to wait and give us a chance to show you what we want to do. So everybody's different. And then there are some Republicans who simply aren't holding any town halls because they know how contentious they're going to get. And that's especially something that we're seeing from Republicans who are in swing districts where they do have to rely on Democratic votes in order to get elected. Some of those lawmakers are opting to do things like hold virtual town halls or Facebook live chats or even have office hours in their home offices rather than a big town hall like the one we'll see today, where there's so much of an opportunity for those pictures of the lawmakers being shouted down by some of their constituents.
Nancy, let's talk about where you are specifically there in Louisiana. You're following Senator Bill Cassidy, who'll be having a town hall there later today. What level of combativeness are you expecting?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see, Vlad, because he is one of the few Republicans who's actually put forward a plan to replace Obamacare, and it's more extensive than some of the other plans that are out there. So there may be some constituents here who are grateful that at least he's working on a possible replacement. But you're going to have other constituents who say, well, that's all well and good, but your plan hasn't really picked up that much support from fellow Republicans yet, because there is so much disagreement about how big a replacement plan should be. Should it cover as many people as Obamacare did? What should it look like? He held a separate town hall yesterday in another part of the state that wasn't all that contentious, and part of the reason for that was because he was talking to a lot of flood victims who had questions that were very specific about the issues affecting them, and some of the people who might have attended that town hall said, we're going to go ahead and respect that. They've got some serious issues to discuss with him, so we'll come to this town hall in Metairie at this public library today instead. So it's possible that it could be more raucous than yesterday's town hall. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right, to be continued, our Nancy Cordes in Metairie, Louisiana. We appreciate the time, Nancy.